Okay, good afternoon. What I'm going to do right now is try to make a quick Christmas ornament, something kind of flat, maybe round, maybe shaped like a Christmas tree, maybe shaped like a gingerbread man. It's kind of up to you. I've taken my clay ball, I've cut it in half. I don't think I need a lot to make this first ornament. I'd like for you to make 2 ornaments, each one better than the last, and you're going to give the best one away, okay? You're going to sign it, date it on the back with your name. The name's going to be permanently attached to the back, written in an underglazed pencil. We're going to glaze over your name so it's always going to be there, and you're going to gift your favorite piece, your best piece, to one of the Okinawa orphans that we're giving to this Christmas. Notice how I'm using the ball or the flat heel of my hand to press against the paper. You don't want to press too hard all at once because it's going to stick to the paper. You see a lot of the moisture from the clay is coming out of the clay body into the paper. Probably a good thing because the clay was pretty wet to begin with. As the clay dries out, it becomes firmer. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. It's easier to do small details on firmer, drier clay. On the other hand, it's much more difficult to bend and shape drier clay, okay? So the idea is to work with wetter clay initially, and then as it dries out, you go in on that harder, drier surface and do some detailing. I'm just rolling that along there just to kind of flatten those edges. Now that's a pretty nice disc right there. What could I make out of that? Well, just very quickly what I could do, I'm going to make us some coils. This is a very good skill. You should be practicing this anyway. There's a very small ball right there. Again, mostly depending on my sense of touch, okay, because I don't really see the coil when my hand's on top of it, but boy, can I sure feel what's happening underneath. I can check it out from time to time to see how it's developing. A coil is a slender, oftentimes very slender cylinder, I guess we'll call it a cylinder of clay, more like a fat string, almost like a fat piece of yarn, except in this case it's made of clay, it's not made of fibers, all right? And I'm rolling this out. Now what can I do with that? Well, that can make a great means of outlining or supplying details to things. So let's see what I can do with this. I might have to make more than one of these. This is not easy. I don't know about you, but you might have to practice this one just like I'm kind of feeling my way along with this one. Normally it's not so hard, but this is getting it to be a little uneven. I don't like that. Maybe I should depend more heavily on my sense of touch and less on looking, and maybe my sense of touch would direct me, guide me more carefully. So there we go, there's that. Now what can I do with that? It's not as thin as I could make it, but what could I do with it? Well, you know what I could do with that? I could just make a lollipop. Let's see how that's going to work. If this just spirals around inside, now remember I'd have to do some slipping and scoring to attach that, but I could make a lollipop. I don't think that's really that long, but wouldn't that be fun to glaze? And then we could poke a hole in the bottom and actually attach a wooden stick later on, glue it in later on with some Gorilla Glue so we make a lollipop ornament. Wouldn't that be cool? What else could I do with that? Well, let's just undo it. What if I make a Christmas tree? So I can do this, I can do this. Now remember, I haven't really attached these pieces. That's going to be my Christmas tree, one kind of Christmas tree, okay? You can see how I'm using my index finger to pull and drag. Got to give that more of a bend. I would still need to attach these more carefully. That could be my Christmas tree. Let's try for one more here and here. And then maybe a little stalk or stem right there. You can go ahead and imagine how that might look. Now remember, I haven't attached anything yet, so I don't know how this is going to work. Let's say I attached these by slipping and scoring, and then I went in here like this and added some greater detail like that. That could make, not saying it would make, could make an interesting Christmas tree. You realize I'm just exploring right now, right? I'm not giving you any definite thing to make. I'm not liking this inside edge, so I guess I'm going to go in here and see what happens if I go ahead and do a little texturing right here. Maybe, if these small pieces were slipped and scored, maybe I'd even do some of this. You think that would help? I don't know. But you can see some potential. That's not bad. You can see some potential in something like this, especially when you consider both the texture and the color to come later as being really important additions to this, and fleshing it out and making it seem more full and fully realized. Now on the back here, which is still very flat, you don't just add things like I did with the coil. You can actually carve. For example, what if I wanted to combine carving with coil work? Well, here I've got, what is this going to be? Ooh, that's kind of cool. That almost looks like the flame on a candle, doesn't it? And what if I used a mixture of bright oranges and yellows there? So that's going to be the flame. Here's another flame. Flames during wintertime, candle flames are kind of nice, right? Because they're nice and warm and cozy when it's all so dark and wet outside. And what if I did this? Okay, I've got a good idea. Ready, watch. Here is a little tiny coil like this. And I can do this in the middle of my hand, or I can do it right here. Little tiny baby coil. And this is going to be, well, you'll see what it's going to be in a moment. Now remember, I should slip and score, but I'm kind of in a rush for time here. So just remember me slipping and scoring. What if I did this? What if I went ahead with this? And that could be a candle right there. I'd slip and score, right? There's the candle. I could fill this in with bright colored glazes there. I could even use some of this as the drippy candle wax right there coming down. So I could have two colors, the white of the wax and the color of the candle itself. Let's try it over here on this one and make sure together they look decent. So it's not showing the whole candle. Well, I don't think you need to see the whole candle. You just need to see the important warm, lovely yellows and oranges of the candle as it glows in the nighttime. Wouldn't that be cool with some nice blue background going on? So again, once you get to a certain point in your design, you automatically start thinking about color. So here's a nice long short, or a nice long skinny coil. So again, here, let me try something a little different here. I'm going to bend that coil here and here. And again, I really should be attaching that coil with slip and score. But right now, that's kind of bulging out there. I don't like that. But you can almost imagine how that's the drippy candle wax right there, and there's the flames right there. And if I then, of course, later on, when the clay's a little bit drier, poke a hole in here. Now remember, the hole's going to shrink also. I can thread that with some really nice ribbon or satin ribbon or something, and that could be a very nice ornament right there. So I'm going to leave it up to you what you do. You might even want to draw out some ideas on white concept paper. I'm not going to require the concepts. I just want two good ornaments. Remember, we're going to stay about as thick as my pinky is, about as thick as your pinky is, because that thickness is going to shrink after a bit and it's going to get thinner. We need something fairly substantial. Looking back at this tree again, you know, it got kind of squished against the paper when I was working. I think it even looks better squished. So I can go ahead and go down here. Just imagine if I even took some little tiny pieces of clay, and again, I would have to probably slip and score them, or do something like this, just poke through them like that, and that will help to see it. That could do some ornaments that way. All right, so you're getting an idea here for your two ornaments. Now, you try.